been the voice of American diplomacy through war, pandemic, and shifting global power. A classically trained guitarist who once rocked out in a band, now navigating the world stage with words sharper than missiles. From the corridors of Harvard to tense negotiations in Beijing, Antony Blinken's journey is a masterclass in modern power, soft and hard alike. But behind the polished speeches lies a man of heritage, conviction, and a surprisingly understated fortune. So, what's the real story behind Blinken's wealth, lifestyle, and legacy? Let's uncover the private world of one of America's most influential statesmen. As of 2025, Antony Blinken's estimated net worth stands at $10 million. While modest compared to political titans like Trump or Bloomberg, it reflects decades of public service punctuated by strategic ventures into the private sector. Blinken's primary income stems from his government salary, most recently as U.S. Secretary of State, which earned him approximately $221,000 annually. Prior to that, his stints as Deputy National Security Advisor and Deputy Secretary of State came with similar six-figure salaries. What bolsters his wealth is his co-founding of West Exec Advisors, a geopolitical strategy consulting firm created in 2017. This firm catered to Fortune 500 companies seeking to navigate U.S. foreign policy landscapes. Though he resigned from the firm upon joining the Biden administration, financial disclosures reveal he earned over $1.2 million in consulting fees, equity, and speaking engagements during that brief period. Additional income includes stock investments, book royalties, and a tidy real estate portfolio, modest by Washington standards, but comfortable. Antony John Blinken was born on April 16, 1962, in New York City, to a family deeply intertwined with politics, diplomacy, and culture. His father, Donald Blinken, was a U.S. ambassador to Hungary, while his mother, Judith Pizar, was a cultural affairs official. But perhaps more formative was his stepfather, Samuel Pizar, a Holocaust survivor and advisor to presidents, who instilled in young Tony a global conscience and moral compass. After his parents' divorce, Blinken moved to Paris, where he attended the elite École Jeanine Manuel. This bicultural upbringing gave him fluency in French, a rare trait among U.S. diplomats, and exposed him early to the art of negotiation and cultural diplomacy. He later returned to the U.S. to study at Harvard University, majoring in social studies, and eventually earned his law degree from Columbia Law School. But unlike many of his peers, Blinken was never interested in flashy litigation or hedge funds. His heart was always in public policy. Blinken's career began in the 1990s under the Clinton administration as a speechwriter for the National Security Council. His talent for precise yet diplomatic language made him indispensable. By the early 2000s, he was a senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies and later became staff director of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, working closely with then-Senator Joe Biden. His long-standing bond with Biden would define his trajectory. Under President Obama, Blinken served as Deputy National Security Advisor and later as Deputy Secretary of State. He was instrumental in shaping policies on Syria, Iran, Cuba, and the global refugee crisis. His soft-spoken demeanor contrasted with the chaos around him, yet his influence was profound. In 2021, Blinken became the 71st Secretary of State, leading U.S. diplomacy during Russia's invasion of Ukraine, China's growing assertiveness, the Israeli-Palestinian tensions, and pandemic recovery. He clocked in record numbers of international trips for a Secretary of State within his first 2 years, engaging with world leaders more than 60 times in under 24 months. Despite his low-key persona, Blinken is regarded as one of the most experienced foreign policy minds of his generation. Though widely respected, Blinken has not been without criticism. His firm, West Exec Advisors, faced scrutiny for its lack of transparency. Critics accused it of blurring the lines between private consulting and future government service, though Blinken himself disclosed his financials and cut ties before taking office. He also faced pressure over the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, particularly the chaotic scenes at Kabul airport in 2021. Congressional hearings grilled him over the intelligence failures and lack of contingency planning. In recent years, Blinken's handling of Israel-Gaza tensions drew polarized reactions. While some praised his even-handed approach, others criticized perceived favoritism or inaction. Nevertheless, his reputation for measured diplomacy, empathy, and bipartisan respect remains intact. Antony Blinken resides primarily in Washington, D.C., in a home estimated to be worth around $2.8 million. Located in the upscale Kalorama neighborhood, the residence is discreet, tastefully modern, and emphasizes privacy and security. The house reportedly features 5 bedrooms, multiple fireplaces, and a private study lined with books, including rare foreign policy tomes. The decor combines minimalist aesthetics with subtle French influences, unsurprising given Blinken's Parisian upbringing. While Blinken doesn't own flashy properties across the globe, his D.C. home reflects his personality: elegant, unpretentious, and purpose-driven. He also owns a smaller vacation property in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, a quiet retreat often visited during off-duty weekends with his family. Don't expect to find a Ferrari or Bugatti in Antony Blinken's garage. His approach to automobiles is functional, not flamboyant. He reportedly owns a Tesla Model S, purchased during his tenure in the Obama administration, a nod to his eco-conscious mindset. The vehicle, equipped with autopilot, is often seen parked near State Department lots. Blinken also uses a government-issued armored Chevrolet Suburban for official travel. These vehicles are customized with bulletproof glass, secure communications, and anti-explosive plating, standard fare for high-ranking U.S. officials. Privately, he's been spotted driving a Volvo XC90, one of the safest SUVs on the market, emphasizing practicality over prestige. Antony Blinken is deeply involved in philanthropic efforts, though he keeps them relatively low profile. He has been a consistent donor to educational institutions, especially Harvard and Columbia, funding scholarships for students interested in diplomacy and international affairs. He's supported human rights organizations, such as Human Rights First and Freedom House, and has appeared in forums advocating for the protection of journalists, especially in conflict zones. In 2023, he quietly contributed to a joint U.S.-French initiative supporting Holocaust education, honoring his stepfather's legacy. He also co-hosted fundraisers for Ukrainian refugee relief, helping to mobilize diplomatic networks for humanitarian impact. Through mentoring programs at the Council on Foreign Relations and Brookings Institution, Blinken has influenced the next generation of foreign policy thinkers. Antony Blinken is married to Evan Ryan, a high-powered figure in her own right. She served as White House Cabinet Secretary and Assistant Secretary of State under Obama. Together, they are considered one of Washington's most influential power couples. The couple has 2 young children, whose identities are kept private, a deliberate choice to shield them from the harsh glare of politics. Away from diplomacy, Blinken is a passionate musician. He plays guitar and has even recorded original music, publishing songs on Spotify under the name A.B. Lincoln, a subtle play on Abraham Lincoln. Tracks like Lip Service and Patience reflect both his creative side and his diplomatic wit. He's also a tennis enthusiast, a wine lover, and an avid reader of spy novels. Despite the demands of his role, Blinken is known to prioritize family dinners, reinforcing the values of stability and grounding in a whirlwind career. In a world where power often comes cloaked in ego and extravagance, Antony Blinken represents a different model, one shaped by intellect, global perspective, and the quiet persistence of diplomacy. His story reminds us that true leadership isn't always the loudest in the room, but often the one who listens, negotiates, and earns trust in silence. Whether orchestrating a ceasefire or jamming with a guitar in hand, Blinken continues to defy the stereotype of a statesman. If this glimpse into his remarkable journey inspired you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know whose financial empire or hidden lifestyle should we uncover next. Because behind every public figure lies a story of struggle, wealth, legacy, and identity. And we're just getting started.